yeah, so for practice, you'll need 2 blocks and your sticky mat and a strap. It doesn't have to connect to be a yoga strap, but that's helpful. It could also just be a bathrobe belt or TheraBand or something like that. Okay. But working today with um, the front line of the body and a little bit of twisting, we'll start by actually really engaging the back line. So one of the really critical things as we age. So if you observe a really old person, like someone who's 90 in their 90s, they're very contracted in, right? And this could start happening for us way younger than 80 or 90, but there tends to be this sort of contracting in on oneself. So doing even a gentle back bend practice is really beneficial as we get older to keep the body open, the spine supple, and in a sort of a metaphorical way, keep us from getting smaller, keep us open. All right. So we're going to begin by coming just to a seat. You can come to a comfortable seat, or your back. Either is fine. I want to start just by reading a little quote, a little poem. I guess it was in my meditation this morning, and I really liked it. And I think it speaks to, in general, why we practice, why we have a practice like yoga. As I carefully sweep the ground of enlightenment, a tree of understanding springs up from the earth. As I carefully sweep the ground of enlightenment, a tree of understanding springs up from the earth. Yoga is such a great practice for continuing to grow our understanding of ourselves, our essence, our mind-body connection, where we've stopped growing the understanding, physically, emotionally, whatever. So the continuing to sweep the ground, the discipline of coming to practice, allows us to continue to grow and increase our understanding. So with a backbending practice, a little more emphasis on the inhale until the very end when we come to Shavasana, and then we'll emphasize the exhale more. So great. All right, so now on your back, make your way down to your mat on your back. And legs straight, about hip distance apart. Arms can be out to the side, and make sure your heels don't slip here. And just rock your feet. Rock your feet. So like your toes are kind of pressing on an accelerator and then releasing, but kind of quickly. And allow your eyes to close down. And feel this movement all through your spine, all up through your body into your head. Really nice to feel this sort of vibration, pulsation all the way through your body into your head, and kind of gives us an idea of the suppleness of our spine. And then you can release that movement and just rest. Let your feet fall out to the sides. Let your arms be heavy. Okay. And then even when we emphasize one area of the body, so we're going to work with strengthening the back body and opening the front body, but let's get the lateral sheath opened up by just bringing the feet to one side and the arms to the same side. And then inhaling back to center and taking the feet to the opposite side. So we'll do a little bit of side body, especially if you're practicing early in the morning. And the ribs can be nice and sticky, and we want to open that stickiness up. Okay, and then soles of the feet to the floor, as wide as the edge of your mat, if not wider. Clearly one of my favorites. And then let the knees go back and forth. So the unwinding, and you'll be aware of a little arch in the low back from this movement. And at the same time, an opening along the side waist. So as your knees fall to the left, you could reach the right arm long, then come back to the starting position, knees to the right, left arm long. Back and forth here at your own speed. Warming up the body. Good. Then just slow that movement down. Take the soles of the feet lined up with the hips. So you're lined up with the hips and the feet are parallel to one another, and a few dynamic bridges. So warming up the spine, but also the beginning of a back bend in the low back, right? So you can leave your hands behind you as you roll down, really creating a lot of length through the spine, and then just sweep the arms back to your sides. Or you could bring everything down at the same time. Just take your choice here and just take it nice and slow. Again, dual purpose to warm up the body here, but also start to play with a little back bending in the lumbar spine. Okay, good. And again, the emphasis will be on the inhale, meaning that maybe we're going to try to increase the inhale, lengthen the inhale, which is allows us to bring a little bit more energy into the body. Next time you come down to the floor, you're going to get your block. Take your block to the widest setting and put it between your knees, and take the soles of your feet to the floor, edges of the feet together. So I'm turning to face the camera here with my block set up in case you need to see that. Squeeze the block, really squeeze the block with your legs, and then let your hips rock side to side. And let's take 10 times. So right and left is one complete. Soles of the feet stay on the floor. Rocking the hips back and forth, squeezing the block. And you'll feel this in the inner thighs. Good. Then take the block to its narrowest setting. Take that between the knees, right? Between, not right on the knees, but at the top of the thigh there. And put the feet together again. Squeeze the block and rock your hips from right to left. Keep squeezing the block, engaging the core. You feel your core turning on here. For 3, 2, 1. Good. Take the block over to the side. Get your belt. And now your belt, if you've got a buckle on your belt, that's great. You can tighten the belt up. And the belt's going to go around the front of the shin here. And so you're coming around the knees like so. And then you're going to make the belt tight. If you don't have a belt that tightens, you could use a TheraBand or something that you can bring the strap around and maybe cross it so you can pull some tension on it. But this is really nice to have this tension set up. So now press out against the belt, feet together, press out against the belt, and then rock the hips back and forth 10 times. Press out against the belt. For 3, 2, 1. Good. Take the belt over to the side. Take your legs long. Let your feet fall out. Let your arms be to your side. Take a resting breath right here. Great. Then from here, we're going to roll into our bellies. And let's just begin by making a pillow with your hands, resting your forehead on the pillow. And you can do a few pelvic tilts here, just feeling for this idea of drawing your tailbone down. All right, a little posterior tilt in the pelvis. When you do that, you kind of pull your navel away from the floor, and then opposite direction, you're kind of pressing your belly right into the floor. Good. So now find a kind of a neutral position there, and then bring your arms out to the side of your body and make a W with your arms. So the elbows are pulling back. And you're squeezing your shoulder blades in and down, and you're squeezing and engaging all the muscles down along your spine, and then squeeze your buttocks and lift your legs. So the idea here is not to go too high, but just to really engage the whole back body. So squeezing everything, squeeze the buttocks in, squeeze the muscles of the legs onto the bones. For 3, 2, 1, release your arms down to the floor, forearms, interlace your fingers, elbows underneath shoulders, and press up onto your knees. So a modified forearm plank. Good, 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 good. And then hands come to the floor, press yourself up, knees underneath the hips, puppy pose. So keep your knees stacked over, your hips rather stacked over top of your knees, and reach the arms out. So you don't bring the hips back, you keep the hips stacked over the knees and you reach the arms long in that puppy pose. For 3, 2, 1, drop to your forearms and slide down onto your belly. Rest your forehead on a little hand pillow that you've made. Bring your feet up in the air and just gently let your feet move back and forth. Okay, round 2. Tops of the feet to the floor. Find a little posterior tilt. Bring the arms back into the W shape, squeezing shoulder blades on your back, squeezing all the muscles down your back, the rectus spinae, all the muscles along your spine. Squeeze your buttocks, lift your legs off the floor. Pressing, squeezing that W shape with the arms, and heads you're just looking right down at the floor for 3, 2, 1. Bring forearms to the floor, interlace hands, press up onto your knees, modified forearm plank. Draw your navel up and in for 3, 2, 1. Then hands to the mat, hips over knees, reach the arms out, puppy pose. Slide your, kind of rotate or spiral your triceps down towards the floor for 3, 2, 1. Forearms to the floor, slide onto your mat, rest both hands, make a pillow, rest your forehead on that pillow, pick your feet up, little side to side, action with the feet. Okay, tops of the feet back to the floor. Draw your navel away from the floor slightly, so contracting the abdominals, really getting the girdle of the core engaged. So, and it's a little bit of posterior tilt in the pelvis, and sweep the arms back, squeezing shoulder blades onto the back body, squeeze along your spine. Your head, your back of your neck is nice and long. Squeeze your buttocks, lift your legs, squeeze your buttocks, really squeeze those glutes. Squeeze muscle to bone on the legs, squeezing everything here for 3, 2, 1. Forearms to the floor, interlace your hands, lift the upper body. Now turn toes under and come into forearm plank. For 3, 2, 1, knees down, hips over heels, reach the arms forward, puppy pose. Roll the triceps down towards the floor. Spread the shoulder blades apart now. Then drop to your forearms, slide forward. Resting hands one on top of the other, rest your forehead on the little hand pillow, lift your feet up and side to side. We're going to do 2 more rounds just like that. So we take the forehead to the floor, bring the arms into that W, squeeze the shoulder blades in, down the back, squeezing everything along the spine. Squeeze the buttocks, lift your legs, pressing, squeezing for 3, 2, 1. Forearms to the floor, interlace the fingers, come up to a modified forearm plank or all the way up to plank, drawing the navel up and in, pressing, squeezing, then knees to the floor, hips over heels, puppy pose. For 3, 2, One, forearms come to the floor, slide it forward, resting your hands one on the other, forehead on your little pillow, lift the legs, and windshield wiper. Okay, last set. Forehead comes to the floor first. You can squeeze the elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades in, lift the head, squeeze the buttocks, lift the legs, everything lifted, everything squeezing in, really working the back muscles, getting lots of good engagement there. And then forearms to the floor, interlace hands, come up to a modified plank or full forearm plank. Draw the navel up and in, squeeze. The shoulder blades now are kind of separated, right? But you're pressing your forearms into the floor for 3, 2, 1, then knees to the floor, hands forward, hips are over the knees. Puppy pose. All right, from here, walk your hands back so that you can come to table and take a few rounds of cat-cow. Good. Then from here, come back to puppy pose. Slide your right arm underneath your left and leave your left arm extended out and come into a little bit of a twist. And really reach the left fingertips forward and maybe over towards the right side, opening the left side body up. And I also feel a little stretch and opening on my right side, low back. Good. Then sweep that left arm by your head, press yourself up, back to puppy pose. And then slide left arm underneath the right. Reach the right fingertips. Try to keep the hips level. So nice level hips here. And then slide your right hand back by your head, press yourself up. Inhale to cow. Let's bring the knees together and then set your hips on your heels. Set your hips on your heels. Very good. And here, just feel for growing long through your spine. Then we'll just bring hips over to one side and we'll start with the left foot in a Baddha Konasana shape, pressed against the right extended leg. Good. Just take a little fold between the space here, between the two legs, and then reach your right hand along your right leg and sweep left arm up and over. Okay. You can bring your right arm forward. See if that helps facilitate a little bit deeper stretch in the QL on the left side here. Some of you might have your arm all the way down to your leg. Think about spiraling the chest open here. And then inhale to sweep up. Take your hands behind your back. Lift your collarbones, float your collarbones. And then switch the orientation of your legs. So right leg is bent, left leg is long. Just fold between the two legs a little bit, just a couple times, just feel, because now we're also getting into the hamstring. So think about pressing the bent leg down to the floor as you reach out, up and over. Keep pressing the right leg into the floor. Maybe the bottom arm can come out towards the front of your space, and then open your chest towards the ceiling. It might be a very subtle movement, but boy, do I feel this in the low back, right side here. Inhale, sweep back up. Bring your hands behind you. Let your collarbones float up. And then from here, just bring the left leg in front, Sukhasana. So the ankles underneath the knees. Yeah. Now, from here, let's bring the fingertips to the shoulders, elbows up towards the sky. And right here, draw your front ribs back into the back body space. Feel for lifting the back ribs as you extend your arms up. For 3, 2, 1. Let your arms float down, resting hands on the thighs, and just take a little movement circling through your pelvic bowl. Take that in both directions. Great. And then from here, bring hands behind your back again. Let your collarbones float up. Great. Then spin your feet over to one side, knees to the opposite side, and come to all fours again. So table. Take a couple rounds with cat-cow. Great, then bring on your next exhale, bring your hips back towards your heels, and then inhale, sweep the arms up, stand up on your knees. Great, so here, draw the front ribs back into the back body and reach the back ribs up, and maybe extend your arms up. And then let the arms float down. Okay, balancing on your left knee, bring your right foot forward, ankle underneath your knee. Take your hands to the front of your thigh and just come down into the lunge. Then press yourself back up by pulling pelvic floor up. Keep the pelvic floor lifted as you come back down into the lunge. Take the front ribs back, the back ribs up. Release or inhale the arms up, interlacing fingers and releasing the index finger. And beautiful back bend here, nice and gentle. Maybe your gaze can go up towards your hands. For 3, 2, 1. Press back up, let your hands float down to your sides, come to your knees. Come to puppy pose. Walk your hands back. Turn your toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. And here you can pedal the feet. Inhale, drop to your knees, cow. Exhale, tops of the feet to the floor, round your back, bring your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Pedaling through the feet. Inhale, drop to your knees, cow. Exhale, press the floor away with your hands, round your back, bring your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. Inhale, sweep up on your knees, reach the arms overhead. Draw the front ribs back to the back body, extend the back ribs up, interlace hands, reach fingertips up, maybe take a gaze up at your hands. And then float the arms down, balance into the right knee, bring the left foot forward, ankle underneath the knee. Take your hands to the top of your thigh and allow yourself to come down into the lunge. Then use your pelvic floor to lift you back up. Keep that engagement, come down into the lunge again. Draw the front ribs into the back body, back ribs up, release or inhale your arms up, interlacing your fingers and releasing the index finger here. Powerful lunge, back bend for 3, 2, 1. Let your arms float down to the floor. Come back to your knees. Come to puppy pose. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Cow. Exhale, press into the floor, round your back up towards the ceiling and reach your hips back towards your heels. Child's pose. Inhale, come up to cow. Exhale, turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Draw the front ribs back and okay, just like we did, draw the front ribs back into the back body. Rotate the triceps down towards the floor. Lift the back ribs towards the front of your space. Bend your knees and take the backs of your legs back in space. Beautiful. Inhale, come forward into cow. Exhale, press and round and come back to child's pose. And then take full balasana here. So arms alongside your body. Let your back body really spread wide. Just let your back body spread out. Really feel for a spreading, opening. And then inhale, just hands alongside your knees to press yourself up, sitting hips on heels. Great. And from here, if this position is not comfortable, you could sit between a block between the ankles or Sukhasana. But draw the ribs up, so lengthen through your spine. The sit bones reach towards the floor, and everything else is reaching up, 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 up. And then draw the front ribs into the back body space. Inhale the arms up, lift the back ribs, interlace the fingers, reach the index finger away, and draw your gaze up towards your hands. Front ribs reach into the back body. Engage the core. And float the hands down. Okay, come to standing on your knees. And your two blocks now are going to go to the outside of your ankles. Good, here we go. All right, so we'll inhale. As we inhale, let's sort of windmill the arms. So the right arm comes up and the left arm follows, and the right hand goes down to your block. Left arm over. So there's a side bend, lateral bend here with the back bend. And then inhale to pop yourself back up. Right hand follows up and left hand goes to the left block. Right arm up and over. So there's a variation on Ustrasana, camel. So we'll just go back and forth at our own speed. We inhale, sort of pop up. And the hands windmill, right hand to the block, left hand reaches over, pop up, come to the other side. Holding it here for a count of one breath, at least, maybe two, and then one more time on each side. And the next time you come up, just standing on your knees, slowly setting hips back to heels, blocks out of the way. Good, resting your hands on your thighs, drawing the tailbone down, draw the back of your skull up. So you feel some length through the cervical spine. Great, then you can come forward to your hands and knees one more time. And come back towards child's pose with the arms extended. Then bring your hands, your forearms to the floor. And then bring your whole body into Balasana with your arms alongside your waist. And then bring hands out in front again. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Turn toes under. Press up and back. Downward facing dog. Spin triceps down towards the floor. Draw shoulder blades down the back towards the hips. So they're drawing down, and as you spin the triceps down towards the floor, you get a little space in there. So it's kind of a neutral orientation of shoulder blades on back. Inhale to walk your feet up towards your hands. Bending your knees generously, press up to standing. Take your time. In Tadasana. Now bounce the heels. Bounce the heels. Bounce the heels. Get a lot, just like we did on the floor with the heels set, just getting that whole vibrational action through the body, bouncing the heels, bouncing the heels. Good. Then we'll take feet in the center of the mat, Tadasana. Okay. Let's take the right foot forward and the left foot back. Right foot forward, left foot back, left toes are turned out. And as we drop into Vera One legs, just checking that as you inhale, you bend the front knee, it stacks over your ankle. So depending on how deep a bend you have in your knee, you might have to move the front foot forward, okay? And the bend, the deep bend in the front knee is not the emphasis. We're going to emphasize the inhale as we come into a little back bend in Vera One. So as you inhale, bend the front knee, step into the back heel, sweep your arms up. Now, draw the front ribs into the back body, lift the back ribs. Feel how that gives you more extension in your spine. Interlace your fingers, releasing the index finger. And draw your gaze up towards your fingers or just straight ahead, but keep pulling the front ribs back into the back body and lifting the back ribs up. Beautiful. For 3, 2, 1. Float the arms down as you straighten the front leg. Great, let's try it one more time. So on the inhale, we'll bend through the front knee, press into the back heel, and sweep the arms up. Now draw the front ribs into the back body, lift the back ribs, interlace hands if that feels okay in your shoulders. Otherwise, leave your shoulders nice and wide, or your hands nice and wide rather. And draw the front ribs into the back ribs, lift the back ribs up. Maybe take your gaze up to your hands. For 3, 2, 1. Straighten the front leg, release the arms down to your sides. Step forward to Tadasana and bounce the heels. Bounce the heels. Maybe the little ninja feet back and forth. Just get a little release before we go to the second side. Okay. So left foot forward, right foot back, right toes are turned out. Find the spot that works for you. You can start with hands on hips as you find your appropriate bend in the front leg for you. Good, then we'll go together. So inhale, bend the front knee, step into the back heel, and sweep the arms up. Okay, now from here, draw the front ribs into the back body, lift the back ribs, interlace fingers, release index finger, or keep the hands wide if your shoulders are a little tight. And then take the gaze up towards up, reaching the steeple of your hands, but keeping space between shoulders and ears. Front ribs into the back body, front ribs into the back body, lift back ribs. For 3, 2, 1, float the arms down as you straighten the front leg. Maybe crossing the arms if the shoulders are feeling a little tight. Let's do one more on this side. Inhale, bend the front knee, press into the back heel, sweep the arms up. Interlace fingers, release index finger. Draw the front ribs into the back body. Lift, lift, lift. Lift the back ribs, front ribs into the back body. Engage the core. Nice long inhale. And exhale, float the arms down, release arms to side, straighten front leg. Step forward into Tadasana and bounce the heels. Bounce the heels, go from right to left. to left. Good. And then from here, let's line up back on the long edge side of the mat. You're gonna need your block. All right, turn the front toes to point straight ahead, lined up with the long edge of your mat. Turn your back heel out and find warrior two. Warrior two with the legs, and set your block down to the outside of your front leg. Outside of your front leg, good. So we're gonna go into the Trikonasana. So bend through the front knee, and then sweep the top arm up, straighten the front leg, and hinge down to the block. Back hand on your hip. Open your chest. Draw the front ribs into the back body. Reach up and stack the arms. Yeah. Big toe mound of the front foot stays connected to the floor. Gaze could be down at the front foot or straight out in front. For 3, 2, 1. Bend through the front knee, grab your block. As you windmill yourself up, turn both feet to face parallel. Take your block between your hands, squeeze the block between your hands, lift overhead. Squeeze the block between your hands, draw your front ribs into your back body. Draw your tailbone down towards the floor. Ooh, nice length through the spine. Feet are strong, stance is strong. And slowly just let your arms float down in front of you. Turn your left foot to line up with the long edge of the mat. Turn your right heel out. Warrior two, so you can set your block down to the outside of your front leg. So outside the lower leg, not the ankle. You might have to scooch it back. All right. Good. And then we are in the warrior two legs. Inhale that the front arm. So you get the length in your front side, and then straighten the front leg as you sweep that hand down towards your block. Top hand stays on top hip. Good. You can play around with even taking your hand, resting your head in your hand and opening your upper body, right? Then stacking the shoulders. Trikonasana. Can you draw the front ribs into the back body and lift the back ribs? So particularly the side that's up towards the ceiling. Can you lift those back ribs? Gaze can be right out in front of you, down at your front foot, up at your hand. Beautiful. For 3, 2, 1. Bend through your front knee and sweep everything back up. Take the block with you. Turn both feet to face parallel to one another. Squeeze the block between your hands. Reach it up overhead. Squeeze it between your hands. Draw your front ribs into your back body space. Draw your tailbone down towards the floor. And shoulder tops down, so you've got space between your ears and shoulders, and feel that lovely length through your spine. Engage your legs, engage your legs. Good. From here now, very slowly, you're going to take a forward fold. Any amount of bend in the knees is fine. Bring your block down to the floor. Draw your tailbone away from your crown of your head, so nice long back. And then bending through your right knee, keep your left hand on the block, take your right hand to your hip, or as you straighten the right leg, swing the right arm up and take a twist. So it could be hand on the hip or extend it up. And then bend through the right knee to come back. Both hands on the block, both legs straight, long spine, crown reaching in one direction, tail in the other. Then bend through the left knee, right hand stays on the block. You could be on the floor as well. Sweep the left arm up or take it to your hip as you turn and twist to the left. Just whatever is in your body right now. Like my left shoulder is kind of bothering me today, so I'm just going to keep my hand on my hip. And then bending through the left knee, coming back. Both hands on the block or the floor. Crown of the head away from the tail. So flat back here. We got a nice flat back as we reach the tail in one direction and the crown of the head in the opposite direction. Good. Then from here, let's take the hands to the floor and the feet come back to downward facing dog. So you might have to reorient on your mat. And then let's take a little shorter dog stance. Bend through both knees, take your right hand to the outer left leg and straighten that leg. Draw the front ribs into the back body. Release, right hand back to the floor. Bend the right leg, take the left hand to the outer right leg and straighten the right leg. Front ribs into the back body. Release, both hands to the floor. And then come back to opening up your stance. Inhale, drop to your knees. And then arching towards the floor, let your chest and chin come down as you walk your hands forward. And come all the way down on your belly. All the way down on your belly. Resting your head on your hands, bend your knees, let your feet float back and forth. And then extend your legs. Take one arm long and roll into your side waist and take a half a bow. So take your top foot with your top hand. So stretching the front of the thigh and little baby back bend here. So you might feel, you might feel like you've been opening the front of the body, opening the heart space, working with the inhale. So you might feel a little caffeinated. This is great stuff. But it can be, if you're super sensitive, you could feel a little overstimulated and you could finish your practice with some forward bending things. We're going to finish with some twisting and such, but if you wanted something additional, or if you're feeling that way, you could come to a child's pose. Let's roll to the other side. So half a bow on the other side here. And then just come out of that. You can come right to your back and set yourself back up on your space as gracefully as possible, or not. And let's come back to this windshield wiper action with the knees. All right, just a little baby twist. And then we'll get it a little bit bigger. So now stack knees over hips. Let yourself go all the way to one side. Everything comes together. Inhale, roll in the other direction. Back and forth a few times here. And then the next time your everything lands to the right side, simply slide your left hand along your right forearm, across your chest, and open up the left arm into a twist. Take a couple rounds of breath here. Great. Then we inhale, top leg up, and just that same thing. Just go back and forth a few times. I don't know, this is like dead bug asana. We'll go back and forth a few times before we go to the other side. So now knees land over to the left, everything lands to the left. Gradually just slide your right hand along your inner left forearm across your chest and open it up into a twist. See if you can release as much of your back to the floor as possible. Gaze is straight up towards the ceiling. Great, then inhale, top leg up. A few more rounds of just rocking back and forth. And then bring your knees into your chest, cross at your ankles. Apanasana, little counter to the back bending, front opening practice. Good. Anything else you need or want, take that and then begin to work your way towards Shavasana, which could be legs long, knees bent with the knees resting together, legs up the wall or on some furniture, but resting and coming into some stillness to finish your practice, coming into some stillness. So let your legs relax on the mat, letting gravity do its good work here. Let your arms relax and be heavy. Feel the support of the earth beneath your back. Release any tension around your eyes. Release any tension around your mouth. And let your face soften. Your neck muscles soften. Just really noticing if you're holding any tension anywhere. As I carefully sweep the ground of enlightenment, a tree of understanding springs up from the earth. So as we've worked in the heart space today, you could take a hand to your heart and just say a few words of gratitude to anyone who makes practice possible for you. If there are other immediate things that come up for you as you think about gratitude, offering gratitude for that, or those people, or the situation. I'm grateful for the practice together. Stay as you are. Take your time to come up to your seat, and I'll just close us with one Om. Om. Namaste.